Welcome, one and all. My name is Dr. Beatriz from Ongoing Changes, and today we have a special guest, JClay. He is an amazing spiritual person helping people around the world to find and keep peace. He started life off as a NASA engineer, and his passion has always been music. So he's fused both music and his science background, and together he brings logic, intuition, and science in such a way that it touches and reaches people across the globe. His music, both through words and through rapping, allows people to find their depth and their spirit and bring it all into life. He has been praised by both psychologists, by the music industry, and also by his listeners alike. So please, let's welcome JClay. And today we're going to be weaving science as well as spirituality so that people can see how they are not only incredible, but how they can weave science and spirituality both to empower and to bring back to what they have forgotten who we really are. Jay, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm introduction. I am happy to be here, and yeah, I'm ready to get into it when you're ready.
Excellent. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that happens. So why don't we start with something like truth and effect? Like we see things in a particular way. And I don't know what your childhood was like, but we all go to school. We're all brainwashed into how we're supposed to be in the world. And from the time we are born, I think we're educated into being these little robots that go to school, sit there, listen to the teacher, do what we're told. So how do you see truth and effect and how it actually affects us on a daily basis?
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is I do remember being a young kid, and some things I happily accepted that adults told me. I accepted it as true, but there were some that I didn't at all. But I wouldn't tell them that because I didn't want the backlash of not listening to an adult. But I would just think that's crazy. I'm not accepting that, and I'm fascinated by how I chose those, which ones I do believe and which I don't, which I still don't have a real answer for. But fortunately, like as we live life and get to experience new people, different cultures, it gives us an opportunity to see things from a newer perspective. And that perspective, it often comes with a change, like, oh, we don't have to do things this way. There's another way. Yeah, and sometimes we're met with those when we're not ready, and we're ready to fight for our limitation, our limited belief. We're ready to fight somebody because they're saying, no, this isn't true. What you believe your whole life is not necessarily true. And so we believe that belief system is us. We confuse it with our identity, and we're ready to fight, even though they're offering us a freer mindset or a better way to live. And it's just interesting how we deal with these things.
Yeah, that is so true. And not only that, I think from my perspective, I think I was always scared to be ostracized, to be pushed aside. And then you get to a stage that even as a kid, you don't care anymore. It's like, this is too hard. I think I'd rather just be the weird one rather than just follow like sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then from that, as we continue to progress through school, we have the 3 R's, which to me still make no sense: reading, writing, and arithmetic. What are the 3 R's? And they also teach us about the biology of the body and the science and how we should be seeing ourselves. Like not that long ago, we were told that, if you drink too much, you're going to kill all those brain cells. And by the time you get to be a certain age, you're going to be a dummy. So it's like, you shouldn't be drinking. So I think that's more like fear and how to control us. But, they saw the heart as a pump, and that's the only thing it did in order to get the dirty blood to go from one area into the other and clean blood to circulate the body. So, how do you think science and the body actually identifies? Do you think that now we see it as one, whereas before we used to see it as bits of everything.
Yeah, so okay, we have an interesting relationship with the body because one, as we know, the mind controls the body. I tell my body to raise my hand like this, it does it. But then somewhere along the lines, we kind of reverse that and let the body dictate our mind. Yet, okay, let me answer the question in a different way before I go there. I feel that science seeks to explain what we bring into existence. Like we are creators in a sense. We bring forth things. So usually, if something hasn't been done, people say, "Oh, it can't be done." Science says it can't be done, but as soon as someone does it, oh, this is why they did it. This is how they did it. Like science explains what is. But again, the same way that I said, we kind of reverse it and let the body dictate the mind. Similar to how with cause and effect, we may let effect affect the cause. We, in a sense, allow this information to stop us from creating, from moving forward, from trying something new just because we just want to see what happens. Because we look at the information and the data from science that says, oh, this is impossible. There's no reason in trying. We should all just be miserable and just go along the day and just whatever already happened will always happen.
Yes, that's very true. I mean, a classic example is the 4-minute mile. Back in the 1850s or somewhere around there, they had the guy that broke, well, he didn't break the 4-minute mile, but he ran the mile in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. It took another 91 years before they had the 4-minute mile under 4 minutes, right? 91 years. Within 46 days, they broke it again. And since 1953, over 1,700 people have broken that. I think it's down to 3 minutes, 43 seconds and a few milliseconds, right? Now, they reckon that that has to do with the fact that us as humans, we begin to realize that something is possible. And once we see that something is possible, we can change it. But why do we have to be so stubborn as need to see someone else doing it as opposed to people being able to understand that they can do it and just doing it?
Yeah, it's like you said about being brainwashed in school. You know, as kids, we want to play, we want to try things new. They say that you can't do this. Watch me, look what I can do. And we have so much joy about just playing. And as like you said, as we learn more, that it's like the circle grows smaller and smaller and tighter of what's possible, what we think we can do, because we're graded and we have a test system. We think that we're going to fail. So now we're afraid of failure when failure was a good thing. It was a way to just calibrate and say, what would happen if I placed this here and just explored life and brought that joy to every moment. And so after years of doing that and accepting it, like you said, not wanting to be the odd person out, you believe in it. And now this is your new belief system. And so if anything comes in contact with you that's against that, you're ready to maybe name call them or exile them or say, you're this, you can't do that, stay away from me, or just make up these stories in our minds. And so, yeah, we have to see someone break this example of what we think is possible in order for us to believe, where it shouldn't be that seeing is believing. It should be, or more so, seeing in your mind is believing, which should be how we do things in a sense.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's almost like we're being sheep and we're being led. There is a hospital in Beijing where people don't use any kind of anesthetic, any kind of instruments, and they actually heal people. Like, I know people are going to be probably listening to this and going to be saying this is really weird, but it's been a fact. They've shown it. I remember in the 70s watching television and seeing people perform some incredible feats, removing huge nodules that were embedded in the body, and the person getting up and not having any stitches and then just wiping off the blood that was on the skin. But we forget that, things like the Matrix are real. like, alternate universes are real. We're just so fixated into this 3D world that we forget to tap into our divinity. And it's through people that, like what you have been doing, through music, that people can start listening to the words. I was listening to Bon Jovi yesterday, the day before, and how, even the music tells us that we're born of sin. Why? And we just keep listening to things over and over again, and we listen to it. It's those like subliminal messages. And it's so important to have the music that you're doing so that people start to understand and imbue all those amazing things.
Yeah, what's beautiful about that is, so what you said about like Bon Jovi, for example, being born into sin. One thing I found as a music creator, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I found as a music creator is that like we tune into certain frequencies and certain ideas based on where we're currently at. So before I shifted to more what I call truth and universal truth and oneness, I was able to get profound thoughts about limited beliefs, which is amazing to me. And so it's almost like no matter where we're at, we can gather all evidence to prove it correct, whether it's based on true truth or not. And just to define what I call true truth is that something is true if no matter who looks at it, no matter when it happens, it's always true. It's true for all. It doesn't pick and choose that, hey, I'm true over here, but over here I'm not true. No, that's a perspective. But total truth is true for all, no matter what. And since I shifted to that, I'm able to bring in more things of the physical that people can relate to understand these concepts. But it's important to note that where you are, you're bringing in belief systems. So it's kind of up to you to make a choice or be willing to hear more information to be able to expand.
Mm. So it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, that certain frequencies bring certain emotions, words, and allow us to actually raise to a higher being of what we can be.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. And I guess that's your message and my message. What we're trying to do is to allow people to see what they're doing when they're in the world and the people that they attract. Once they start changing their mindset, they'll attract different people. It's like Jung says that we have to build a strong ego and then we have to let it go. But I think society tells you you've got to have a strong ego and this is how you go forward. That's how, you get better in life. That's how you get money, the house and the 2.5 kids. Cutting a kid in half is not the thing to do. But what do you think and how do you see, is ego beneficial? Is it actually a hindrance to where we want to go?
Yeah, it's both depending on how you look at it. Like the ego is beneficial in the sense that it allows you to see opposites, the duality in it all, and how they work together and play together. Like for example, day and night. Many people would say they're polar opposites, and we speak like, "Hey, you should be love and light. You should, live the light and be like this." But I actually enjoy the dark as well. I can sleep better when it's dark out. You can see other lights sparkle in the dark, but even though I love the light more, like I actually have appreciation for both things. And it's not to say that one is better or worse off than the other. It's just seeing the same light from a different perspective. And where was I going with that? What was the original?
The ego.
Oh yeah,
How
the
the
ego.
ego is actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ego is a strange thing. It depends if, like, a lot of people see themselves by what they do. Say, like, when you were at NASA, you saw yourself as being, one of their engineers. And let's face it, it's the accolades that come with working at NASA are huge. Like, not many people can work there. So it's one of those elitist status things. So therefore, people see themselves as by what they're doing, as opposed to just remembering that they're human and knowing that this is just something I do. Just like, I'm a son and I do son things, or I'm a brother, and therefore the role shouldn't be a one or the other. It should be I'm all of those things because I'm human. And so therefore the ego sometimes it's like puts that hat on that says, oh, I'm better than you because I do this. And you think, you're born naked, and unless they dress you, you die naked.
Yeah. And we confuse ourselves, and we start to live in these stories. Like you said, like we think about having the ego, it gets us money and things, even though that's one way. But once we do, now we're stuck in it. We feel we have to uphold this vision of ourselves the whole time, or else this goes away. And because we're creators by nature, that's true to a certain extent until we're willing to even let that belief go. And so we wonder why we get so tired. Like, why am I so tired? It's because we're upholding something that's not necessarily true, and we're carrying it around everywhere we go. It's a burden, and it weighs on us over time until we just have like that break where we have no choice but to let everything go. And the thing, what some people may call a psychotic break, which could seem like a bad thing, but then it goes into, it allows you to be open again and learn again and be childlike, to see from a new perspective, and like, oh, I could have been peaceful this whole time. I could have, taken life with ease and breathed deeply and just enjoyed myself more. And that's how life could be if we so choose.
Yeah. Interesting that you use the word a psychotic break, because is it a psychotic break, or is it a realization and a lightness that we get as a result of changing our mindset? Do you think that's the beginning of our healing?
Yes. And I think, how do I say this? So, and what I mean by psychotic break, because I know that's a strong term. It is a break in our psyche, like in
Yeah.
right, in our perception. But like you said, it is the start of a new. It's like we broke open this shell, and now what's inside can peek through and thrive and be free. Before, we held it in so tight that we needed to somehow break out of this. Now, it doesn't have to be a break. We don't have to crack it open, because that could be painful for those that still believe in pain. But
Yeah.
there can be an easy way to do that as well.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think a psychotic break is a great word, because that is what society understands. And it's because it's the way we've been programmed to believe. So therefore, it's not a bad word, because to me, it's like a transition. It's like when you're a teenager and you come of age, and the native Indians would have sent their kids off and to find, go to the wild and spend this time and forage for yourself and look after yourself, and then come back to us in a week or 2 weeks, however period of time they used to do, as a man. So it's like that, transition from one to the other. It's much easier for females because we get our period. And so therefore they go, oh, from being a young female, now you're a woman. And you think, what happened? Yesterday I was a kid and now I have to change. It's like, why? I know, it's crazy, right? But and so society just seems to put so many layers on us, and I feel like we become an onion.
Yeah.
So once the healing starts, how do you think, or how do people continue on that journey so that they realize that not only are they on the right track for their own sanity and health, but who do they tap into to keep going along this path so they can find peace?
I'm glad you worded it like that, because oftentimes when we make a big change, we'll give the power to something outside of ourselves that was the catalyst for it. Like, for example, I remember the first time I lost a lot of weight, I wanted to say, hey, this is how you should live. You have to eat this way. You have to drink this way. Do this, do that. And I gave so much power to that, which again was not necessarily true. It was just another insert healing modality here. And and the way you worded it, which is more in line with truth, is that there is something to tap into. There is a truth, and it's really our inner selves, like the divine spirit, the divine power is within us all. Or to say it more accurately, we are extensions of that divine power. So by going back within, we can tap into it clearly, where it's more of a bigger picture. What we see as parts of the whole, that divine presence sees as the whole and can direct us best, so that we realize we have everything we want and need. We have access to it. We have no reason to worry. But then there's a how do you tap into that? And oftentimes, some type of meditative practice is helpful because it allows you to quiet the mind, which is that ego voice that we allow to just talk all the way through and make decisions from us. We have to learn to kind of dial that back so that we can hear the true, powerful, still voice that's within us all.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, how do you transition? Is it through books? Is it through, how do you catch yourself so you don't go back into that monkey mind?
So I have a cool process that I've been testing with friends, that has been working. Like, if they do it, they have profound success. And what it involves is, for 7 days, don't complain at all. You're gonna be right. You're gonna be tempted to. You might still complain and then get mad at yourself for complaining. Don't worry about that. Just do your best. And what that does is, it starts to get you to look at your mind. And when you look at your mind, now you say, "Oh, I complain a lot. No wonder, right? No wonder I'm experiencing this. No wonder I'm unhappy about this. I complain all day long about everything." And so now, when you start to see it, you can make a better choice to quiet it, and then now there's space in your mind for a new, calming, truer voice to come in. But that's just step one.
Yeah. No, that's really nice. I remember when my kids were little, I used to hear mothers complaining all the time. Oh, the baby cries all the time, doesn't let me sleep, etc., etc. So what I used to ask them to do was to write down the times and the duration that the kid cried for, and then go back and have a look at it. And what they found is that the kid didn't cry that much. It was just a perception. I guess it's like an irritation that we allow our head to think, oh my, it's again crying. So I didn't take it the next step, which was catch yourself and then just take note of it, which is what you've done. You've told them to, when you catch yourself, just let go and don't beat yourself up. And next time, just you have a different choice that you can make. Yeah. But it's very difficult because, we have been programmed. And with both of us having a programming background, you get it.
Yeah. but the good news is we have a deeper program, which is more eternal, that says, like, judgment isn't our function, because we know in programming you have different functions that do different things, and we try to create a function of ourselves of judgment, which was never ours to begin with, and that's kind of the cause of so many of us perceiving problems for ourselves.
Yeah. Subprogram. If and then. Go here.
Right.
Try again. Yeah, because so I guess what you're trying to also say is that we need to align ourselves by catching ourselves into our truth and who we really are. And I think that, from my perspective, the issue is that up until not that long ago, science would tell us one thing. And then now science seems to be getting more of an understanding from a spiritual basis, and also how amazing that we are. And I guess it goes back to this 4-minute mile, that when we see it, we believe it, as opposed to believing. So do you feel that the way that your music is going allows people to actually start to feel it, sense it, become part of how amazing their divinity actually is?
Yes, and that's the purpose of it. With both my albums, actually, like the first one is more so, at least the first half of that album is to getting you to release these blocks. Like we put up these walls. We think that these walls protect us from the outside world, but really it just fences us in. So now the circle of what allows us to be happy is smaller and smaller. So now it's like surgery. This has to go right, and this has to go right, and this and this and this, and then I can be happy. And it's a, I don't know, it sets us up for failure almost. But when we let go of those walls and realize we're still safe no matter what, we're still loved and protected and always look after, we can expand and be happy more and more. And the music helps to do that. Like it plants seeds of these of divine wisdom. As they say, like if you really want to change, they say it's really 3 ways to easily invoke change, and that's through meditation or silence, sitting with yourself, um, visualizing, seeing yourself in new situations, doing new things, and then also affirmations. And so music, it kind of allows you to do all 3 without doing anything. Like you listen to a song, you kind of visualize what they're saying, and you're at peace
Mm.
because you enjoy the artist, you trust the artist at this point. And then when you say it back with the artist, you're affirming it, you're affirming these things to be true, and they just replay in your head over and over again. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, I do feel happier, I do feel lighter, I do have a choice, I don't have to be mad right now, I could be willing to forgive or see this from a new perspective easier. And it all comes down to what we let into our psyche, so to speak.
That is so true. I mean, from the time I was quite young, I would sit there and, you know, listen to the tune and say the words. But the words weren't that good. They were all about, self-esteem issues and body issues. And, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And it's like, it's very demoralizing. And you're telling yourself this over and over again. So finding music that actually elates as well as elevates is amazing. And it's not that easy to find either, because that breaks you out of the mold, and nobody wants you to break out of the mold because then they can't control you.
True.
And I mean, I remember you were saying about planting seeds. It's incredible. I was doing a psych major years and years ago, and my daughter was in the process of, I don't know, she was in grade 4, grade 5. And from a psychological perspective, girls learn better in girls' schools and boys learn better in co-ed. Maybe because it's that boy thing of showing off and look what I can do and doing better. Anyway, so I planted the seed and said, you should be going to a girls' school when you grow up. And so it went on, and she ended up going to a co-ed for the first year of high school. Second last day of school, she says, Mum, I've decided that my education is more important than my social life, and I want to go to a girls' school. I said, great. Day before school ends and you want to change schools. So we ended up changing her into a girls' school. But it was that planting of the seed and not making a big deal out of it that allows everything to just flourish. So you become like this fecund earth that everything can grow and expand and just, get absorbed into it.
Yeah.
So do you get people to move their body, to become part of life, to go out in nature, just, get out of the rat race?
or yeah, I try to plant seeds in that too. Like most of my content now is outside, so I go for these walks every day, just because it keeps me grounded, it keeps me free flowing, and it's like thoughts just come, like divine thoughts just come into my head. Sometimes I write while I'm out in nature, and I just try to remind people, like, because me personally, I've done it both ways. I've done where I prioritize the working hard, the do all this work, make all this effort, and then I prioritize my well being, where let me just take it easy. And I found that I can do more quality work once I'm, grounded or relaxed and just feel better about the situation. So, like, even with meditation, when people say they don't have time to meditate, it's almost like meditation gives you more time, because
Yeah.
you can do things with such focus that, like, oh, that only took 2 minutes. I was stressing about this for 3 hours, and it took 2 minutes of actual work. Kind of like what you said about timing how long the baby cries. It's not as long as you think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, it's nice that you said that you stress over something for 3 hours when you take only a couple of minutes. And I guess that's what people need to catch themselves. And like with your 7-day reset, is that they start catching themselves in the language they're using and getting, you know, angry at it. So they can also catch their thoughts. Like I used to have so many things that I used to have to prioritize. And I would prioritize things by telling my brain that I would do this task for a certain period of time. And then, regardless whether I finished it or not, I would move on to the next task so that I could get all the things that I needed done. And that way, my brain went, oh, yeah, okay, that's good. So you promise you're going to do this? Yes, yes, I promise. And things would flow easier until I got into the swing of it. But it was almost like, because as kids, you're told, go on, go outside, go play. It's not about reading books or having quiet time. It's about doing and doing and doing, you know, and people just need to find what works for them. And music kicks the brain into, do you remember back in maths, like you had, or was it chemistry, physics, one of them, you had two sinusoidal waves. When they spend time together for a short period of time, they become one. And so your music is actually kicking their brain into that frequency. And they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I enjoy most. Like, it's like you're healing and you don't even know it. Like, and I'm happy to bring that, because I was happy when it happened to me, when I made these realizations, when I was taught these certain things that I found to be true, for myself. And I love that you said that people need to find what works for them, because right, there is no one size fits all. Like, there are infinite ways for you to step into that higher frequency, for you to free yourself from a limited mindset. And it's important to be aligned with it. And I'll use this for an example quickly. Journaling. I first heard of the benefits of journaling like maybe 10, 15 years ago. I tried so long. I tried many times and failed. Like, I can't journal. This is not for me. This is dumb. I judged it. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna try again. I'm finally at a point where I enjoy it now. Like, I found the benefit. I found in what way it benefits me, and I found how useful of a tool it is. And without understanding, without knowing the why or the understanding, it wasn't useful to me. And that's why I try
Mm.
to, even through my music, explain the why behind things. Like, many spiritual teachings say, forgive, you have to forgive. Why? Why do I have to forgive? But once you explain it and you understand it, you're like, oh, I will always forgive. Why I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think that why is very important.
Yeah. So, how do people get to the why? I mean, you said you didn't like journaling and now you do it and you're enjoying it. How did it change? I mean, what gave you that next step to allow you to enjoy it? Because let's face it, regardless of what we do, we need to find what that, not necessarily a hook, but what gives us that passageway into things that are so beneficial for us that we fight so hard against.
So in particular, it was a book that I was listening to, and it gave more benefits of it. But I think it was what led to it more was the planting of the seed and what my life looks like. So I'll explain my why. So I've been rooted more and more in the moment, like not giving concern to the past, not thinking too much about the future, just being here. And I've also noticed that from day to day, it's like its own world. Like everything is different from yesterday, much different than the day before. And by me journaling, I get to actually, when I review it, like once a week, I might review the past week, and I'm like, wow, all of this did happen, or wow, I was here. Oh, for instance, on December 27th of 2025, in my app, I had an entry that said, hey, 7 years ago, I think, yeah, it said in 2017, you had an entry. And so I read the entry, and it said, I love you, God. What would you have me do? And like, I've never asked a question like that before, but I just did it in journaling. And he said, what I received back was, listen, learn, let go. And then it said more like, you have this, you're going to impact a lot of people. Just trust, listen, learn, let go, listen, learn, let go. Now, why this is significant is 6 months later, I came across a book called A Course in Miracles that says in the book, you should ask God or the Holy Spirit, what would you have me do? What would you have me say? And about 2 months after that, I wrote a song called Let Go, which is my most successful song right now that has helped many overcome anxiety, depression, all of that. And this was all in my 2017, before all of this, journal entry. And when I read that, it shook me. It shocked me, like, how, what happened? Did I did I tune into something? Did I divine this somehow? Like, what happened? And it's just amazing to see. And so now I'm sold on journaling.
That's incredible. I mean, that's just such a journey. So was there a trigger beforehand that, that led you to writing that?
I see that. I don't know, because I didn't before
In
that
journal.
right. But I love that you said journal is a journey. Like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The JOUR, it has to,
Yeah.
has to be something there.
Because it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it does. I mean, I have tried journaling. I've read clinical trials that says if you write down in a journal on a daily basis all your monkey mind thoughts, all the things that keep you on that wheel, increases your immune system and it makes you happier, which makes a lot of sense. But everybody says, oh, this is how you have to journal. These are the 10 questions that you should be answering. And you think, I don't want to answer those questions. They're silly questions. Why do I have to do it this way?
And I tried that too. I'm the same way. I can't answer silly questions. I found 2 ways that I enjoy journaling now. Like, one is a dream journal. So if I have a crazy dream or something that's just out of place, I'll try to write that in there as soon as possible. And then the second is just throughout the day, I'll just check in. Like, this is what I'm feeling right now. I'm excited about this, or I feel a certain way about this happening, but this is how I'll move forward. And I just kind of just say where I'm at. It's more of a log for me to go back and just see the changes. Because again, when we're living it, we don't think we're changing. We don't think we're improving or going toward our goals. But then when we see where we used to be, we're like, wow, I forgot I was at that point.
Yeah, that's very true. And do you find that when you come across people that are a different path in the journey, how do you see them? How do you look at them? How do you talk to them?
So I always try to see people at their highest and treat them as their highest. Sometimes are better than others. I've gotten compliments on that too. Like, some people say, like, I can just talk to you. You don't judge me or anything. But there have been times that I have still judged people. But it also depends. So every now and then someone will come to me with something so serious, and I see it in their eyes, and I don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't want to crush them or one of the other things. So I go back to asking the Holy Spirit. I say, okay, what should I say to this person? What should I bring? And this does 2 things. One, it takes the burden off of me. I don't feel guilt, so I don't bring guilt to the situation. And I'm also very present. But then when I give that answer, it's amazing how 100% of the time when I check in first, is what they wanted to hear, whether I agree with it or not. Because there's been times that I've been a little afraid to say it because I can't say this to this person. This is, what do you mean? But I'll say it, I'll trust. 100% of the time, it has not failed me when I did that. But when I spoke from my ego, I just said, oh, you should just do this, like a programmed response. Then they might not get the message. It might not have helped them at all, or they may be upset with me.
Yeah, very true. Now, going back to your dreams, do you find that your crazy, wacky dreams actually have a meaning or help you to write some music or bridge something that you were thinking about?
Yes. All of the above. I don't always correlate it with music, but sometimes things that happen in my dream will be on my mind, and then when I happen to write, it comes out. I did have a dream where I experienced what I would call divine love. Like it was so overwhelming that for 15 minutes after I woke up, I was just bawling, sobbing. It was just deep sobs, and I never felt anything like that. Um, and it was just interesting and amazing. And yeah, and my world has just been opening up of things that I would have never imagined are true that just happen.
Yeah. So, when people are listening to this, what suggestions would you give them to actually start on the journey of discovering who they really are?
One, I would say play more. So yeah, every now and then we get that thing like, oh, it would be fun if I would do this. I feel like that's God communicating with me. Like a lot of times we'll start judging it. No, I can't do this. I have to go to work today. I have to do this. But that's your inner child, your inner voice saying, no, this is for you right now. Everything else is gonna work out. You're good. Play. And when you allow yourself to play more, it just puts everything in perspective. You're happy enough to do the job that you don't want to do. And you bring better energy to it to then transmute that to be something that you want to do and enjoy. And so, like, I would say, play more, love more, like, have fun, do the things you've always wanted to do, not because you can be successful at it, just because you want to, just because it would be fun in this particular moment.
Yeah. So, do you think it makes any difference whether it's a male or a female, or whether they're young or whether they're old? Like, I think a lot of people, as they get older, they seem to be more and more stuck in their way. And it seems to be like, instead of peeling an onion, it's like cracking a volcano open so that, that wonderful energy comes back out. Do you think it makes any difference?
It does slightly. Like the overarching things will still work at a high level, but on a lower level, it is because men and women are treated differently. So it's kind of like different things come to the forefront. Like for an example, like a lot of men generally aren't able to express feelings with ease because they weren't encouraged to as a child. It's like, be a man, don't cry, stop crying, this, right, where women could have been encouraged, but also like men may have thought to be more protective or I don't know how to say it, but it's just I've noticed different patterns in the thinking and what thoughts come to the surface first. But what I mean by the overarching things are the same that each can do is like the what I mentioned about the not complaining. The step two in that, if people are ready for step two for the next 7 days, would be no judgments, good or bad.
Mm,
Now, that's another level, but what it does is you realize life can exist without you giving a meaning to every single act. It's like you let life off the hook to then present to you something better because it's not trying to be held in place by what you've judged this. Like this thing that happened, it might be good, it might be bad. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Don't even be concerned with that. Like don't judge anything good or bad and just watch what happens throughout the week. And then you can detach from your egoic mind. You realize like, oh, you're not protecting me. You're just saying what you think, which isn't based on truth. And I'm not even you. So I can start to make my own decisions or make more consciously guided decisions.
mm. So you're finding that more people are open to it, like you're talking about non-duality and the fact that people should just be present and should chill out and do have some more fun because life is too short. I remember 18 months ago, I decided to shave my hair off. It was my mother's first anniversary of having passed, and I thought, what would really annoy her? So I shaved my hair off. So many people said, oh, you got good colours. And I used to go, what are you talking about? It's like, what you think and what other people perceive, they're putting on you. So the thing is, where I'm going with this is that what we see and feel, it's the outside world that seems to still trying to push us into, a different path so that we think, oh, I must be doing the wrong thing. And it's like, hang on a minute, you're not doing the wrong thing. Keep on this path. You'll find it's really good. And it's that continuous also thinking that we have to let go of the past. And music is so important. Like, let's face it, music changes our mood all the time. And by playing certain tunes and music and word, it automatically puts you back on the path. And so it does make it easier. And so I find music is just amazing. Like back in the day when you had the composers, they actually checked the music and they found that it would build to take you up to a certain frequency, maintain you there, and then bring you back down. So it's like that divinity that you talk about, that both in our body and our music and our brain. And yeah, I mean, you feel like grabbing people and saying, come on, let's go and have some fun, relax, chill.
Yeah, because everyone's so serious, and it's like, why? Like, we were kids once. We know what it's like.
Yeah. They say, you old enough to know better. Shouldn't you be responsible? It's like, hang on a minute, I'm responsible. I just don't think I should be an old fart.
Same. What's funny is, like, some people have told me that I help them see that you can still do what you need to do, but have fun doing it. I remember I was in some kind of summer science program when I was 15, and the counselor gave a review. Like, they're supposed to give a review at the end, and he said, Jelani, he's brilliant, where he would do complex equations that my college students couldn't do, but mature wise, he's very much a kid. He's he's younger than what his age is in maturity. And even though he was being real, and I took that as a compliment even then. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. I think it's great. I mean, and during when I had shaved my hair off, I went and saw my daughter. She was living in Houston at the time, and one of the ladies had gone through chemo and she was wearing a wig. And soon after I visited, she actually took off the wig and she had very short hair at the time. She said that I gave her the confidence to actually just be herself and know that it was okay to do it. And we seem to go back to the 4-minute mile, the fact that we have to see and witness before we can be, which is really sad.
yeah.
So once you've started the journey, it's a matter of staying on it and finding what works for you and getting rid of the ego. Although you want to keep it sometimes, but you want to get rid of it other times. I mean, how long did it take you once you did you start and stop, or did you start and continue, creating the music and realizing your divinity?
It's so okay. What was interesting when I started learning these divine answers to the questions I've always had, and I started applying it, like really seeing my ego for what it was, realizing that it isn't me, that I don't have to carry this story, that I can let it go. I can assign a new story if I so choose. It was like everything was brighter and freer. Like when you hear people say, hey, I saw the world of one color and now it's another color. Like that was literally what happened. Nothing changed, but everything changed. And since then, like I started saying, one of the things I learned was that giving and receiving are one, or teaching and learning are one. Like it's one and the same. And I wanted to learn more about this, so I had to be willing to teach it. And one of the things I knew I was good at music. Could I teach divine wisdom in music? I don't know. I don't want to be overly preachy. I don't want this to be corny. Can I do it? Yeah. And I tried it. It started working well, and I continued. But I did reach a point, like when I finished my first album, I felt like I did what God wanted me to do and that I was done. I was like, I did it. I'm done. You can take me now. Like I really felt that way. But you know, God has other plans. I have other plans as well. And it was, but I took that pressure off of me of having to be a teacher, because sometimes we put these pressures on ourselves and we have to live to them, but we're the ones that put the pressure on ourselves. Nobody gave this to us. And it allowed me then at that point to create more freely, just as a kid. Like when I feel it, when I feel strongly about it, and when I don't, it's no pressure. I'm free to play in other ways.
That's interesting. Do you think it's your ego kicking in rather than you listening to what's around you and within you?
Yes, at times, like the ego is very crafty in getting you to listen. It's like, oh yeah, you're a great artist. You can be bigger. Do this. Work hard now. Go do this every day for 10 hours. And it just tells you things like, no, that's not realistic. Then I'll believe more in the work than the actual presence that being is. So like when you shared the story about the lady in the wig, what I've been finding more and more is, as we live our truth and as we live joyously, we help so many people by not even doing anything. Like we're just being ourselves, and it helps so many people. And in the same way that I'm sure you agree, I agree, like we've been helped by watching others just live their life just regularly, and they'll never know how much they've helped us and made an impact on our life by just being themselves.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, some of the best teachers that I remember, first year at uni, we were doing maths. I don't know, we were doing calculus or something. And this teacher, she was amazing. She had so much energy. She was like, in Australia would be saying, a pocket rocket. Like, she was incredible. She, just being in the room with her gave you that more love of maths. Like, I've always loved maths, but she said, "Oh, we could try this and we could try that," and she would get up and do this and do that, and it was amazing. It was like she was a kid. Like, she wasn't young, but she was a kid, and it was great. And you think there should be more teachers like this, that they have the love and the passion of the subject, and they, just by doing, they're giving it back to you, and you think, yay, give me more.
Yeah. And that's it exactly. That sums it up perfectly. Like as long as we do that, like we're put around people that would benefit from us being us, just as we benefit from them being them.
Yeah. Yes, but children don't seem to like that very much, and they say, "Can't you behave? You shouldn't be doing that." And you think, I don't care. So we're getting it from all directions. And I think when we're starting on the journey, it's so much easier to surround ourselves with people that are like-minded, that do keep us on track, that we do listen to music. And because we have to reprogram ourselves. And it takes time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what would you like to tell people? What information or what morsel of wisdom that they could take with them? What would you tell them?
I would tell them there is no limit to your creative ability. Like your consciousness can affect all. Like it does affect all. We just don't know it. Like we have certain belief systems that we hold in place. I like to say believing is be living in. Like our belief system is what's holding things in place. But as soon as we let those go and are willing to be open to a new thought, things change. So for instance, when I learned about that pain is an illusion. Now, some people, they don't live like that. Pain is not an illusion to some people, and so they live that. And pain is to some people, so they live that. But when I first heard it, I was ready to fight for my right to have pain, which when I realized that, I'm like, I'm inflicting more pain by fighting for pain, which is something I don't want. Right. And I was like, well, why don't I just be willing to listen to see if there's a seed of truth in this so that one day I could apply it and be pain free. And that's just one example, but there you could apply that to any and everything. Any life that you want to lead, that you want to live, you can by allowing yourself to see yourself as that, to gather thoughts that are aligned with that thought, that are alike with that thought, and just step into it. Like don't there's nothing wrong with changing.
A lot of people see change as being devastating. You know, the three big ones that psychology tells us is death of a loved one, death of a marriage or a divorce, and moving house. We have like 50 trillion cells in our body, and they die and they're reborn and they die. So change is inevitable, but a lot of people are scared of it. So what would you tell them?
But to use your example about the 50 trillion cells that die and live, like so every 7 years, all of your cells would have been reborn. Like you'll have a new body every 7 years. Yet you've always been you. So so when you think about that, like, wait, I thought I was my body, but I have a new body. And how am I still here? And it's because like we are more conscious than anything. Like what tells those cells to be reborn a certain way, to die off a certain way? It's my belief that it's based on our belief. We're accepting new beliefs, so it's allowing our body to step into that reality to live it a certain way. So like basketball players are usually tall despite genetics. Like they're taller than their parents, they're taller than their siblings because they're always reaching for a higher height. They're always visualizing themselves getting up there. You look at gymnasts, they're very short because they need that tight core to be able to spin around like so tightly. Right. Our body, it tends to it shapes itself and reforms itself based on to what we give it, the stimuli we give it through our mind. And so I'll say like, there's no reason to fear because you will always be here. You will always be safe. You might not be in the same form that you once were in, but you can reshape that form at any moment, at any time. It can be gradual. It can be fast. It's up to you and based on what you choose to believe at any given moment.
That is so true. I mean, we've been shown through the biology of belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton that we create our own environment. And I remember reading something about Tiger Woods that his father started to take him to play golf when he was very young. Like he was pretty golfer by the time he was 4 years old, I believe. And it's our thoughts that shape our belief. And I like your metaphor about, well, not just a metaphor, but the real thing that basketballers are so tall because they reach for the sky, whereas, gymnasts are much more introverts. Like they're not introverts, but they're much smaller and more compact in what they do. And I think it's brilliant for the simple reason that not only is it simple, but it shows us how amazing that we are and how little we believe in ourselves, which is just crazy. So, yeah, I know, right? It's like we have to see to believe instead of believing and seeing. And I guess that's a really good message to leave everybody with. It's the fact that you may be human, but your humanity is divine. And you don't need to see to believe. Just feel, listen, and just be in it.